Welcome to another episode of the Executive Hub Show. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, your host for the show. Today, with my guest, Dwayne Hoskins, we are talking about picking the right business model for chiropractors. Welcome, Dwayne.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Where about are you?
I'm in South Carolina. We're in the upstate where we didn't get any snow today.
Oh, yeah, nice. So let me do the proper introduction for Dwayne, and we're going to dive into a very kind of interesting conversation about business models for chiropractors because it's important to have the right model. So, Dr. Dwayne Hoskins is the founder and president of pureCHROnotes, director of sales and marketing and education at Titronics Research, and the engineer behind the top chiropractic podcast called Chiro Hustle. He graduated from Logan College of Chiropractic in 1992 and later became the dean of clinic operations at Sherman College in 2015. Dwayne serves as executive director of the Palmetto State Chiropractic Association and has taught business, science, art, and philosophy worldwide.
Yep.
Welcome again.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
How's your day so far?
So far, so good. Had a great morning, great lunch, good workout.
Beauty. And it's kind of cold out there where you are?
Yeah, for South Carolina, it's very cold. For Canada, it's a balmy, wonderful, sunny day.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, kind of got it warmed up here over the past weekend. It got like down to minus almost 30 Celsius, which was pretty cold, but it warmed up significantly since up here. Anyway, let's dive into it. Dwayne, what is your story?
My story is I'm a chiropractor. I was built to be a chiropractor. People started calling me Doc when I was in 6th grade. I found chiropractic when I was in pre-med, switched all of my focus and studies over to become a chiropractor, and not regretted a day since, except for the time when I was practicing in a business model that didn't fit the way that I was practicing chiropractic, which is why we're talking about this today. But yeah, once I get things straightened out, it's just the best thing in the world to be congruent in all areas of my life.
Love it. Do you come from a chiropractic family?
No, in fact, I am the first generation that's gone past high school. I have a cousin that became a lawyer, and my brother that eventually got his PhD in psychology. But other than that, out of my dad was one of 11. Each one of those 11 had at least 4 or 5. I'm one of 12, and so there's hundreds of cousins in my line, and there's only 3 of us now that have anything past high school.
Interesting. So wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have a hard time with that? I mean, you were like the only chiropractor or doctor in the family?
No, not really. Like I said, from an early age, I knew that there's something special about me. Mom and Dad encouraged me to get all the education I could. I surpassed the math teacher in high school. We actually did. Back then, it was new, but we did correspondence school. Now everybody does, online learning. Back then, it was correspondence. You actually did things on paper, put them in this little paper thing called an envelope, and you put this little sticky thing on it called a postage stamp, and you sent in your work, and you waited 2 weeks to get it back before you went on to the next lesson. So that's what we did in high school to give me advanced training in math, and had some really good teachers that helped me with advanced chemistry and advanced English. But other than that, we come from a very small school district. So I was very blessed to have support of everybody. And like I said, from 6th grade on, everybody around me knew I was going to be a doctor of some sort.
Very nice. Very nice. So what do you do today and who do you serve?
I am a chiropractor today. So my week is focused on serving my community. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm in private practice. We've got a little bit late start today, and I appreciate that because we had somebody that walks in, works across the street. She didn't bother to check whether I had anything planned or not. She just walked in, and that's part of serving your community. You take care of your community. On Tuesday and Thursday, I work at a medical clinic downtown Spartanburg and help the underserved. So the people that don't have a home, don't have papers, can't speak English, are here for reasons that I don't even care about. We help people that nobody else wants to touch. And so we do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Love it. And
Evenings,
you, yeah.
weekends, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, and then on the weekends and evenings, I serve the profession by being executive director for a state association and also doing education.
Love it. So these
Yeah,
people that you help them with chiropractic adjustments?
that's all I do. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's very nice.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's like a volunteer job?
No, it does pay. It is supported by the federal government through Medicare,
Okay.
Medicaid, but it's nothing to build a future on. It's just enough to cover my time and um, expenses.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Love it. That is
Yeah.
amazing. That is amazing. That's very nice of you. So what would you say are the problems that you solve? And I always like to assume that people that are watching or listening don't know what because I think everybody would go to a chiropractor, but then I meet people that are scared of chiropractic adjustments and people they just don't know what chiropractic is. So tell us the problems that you solve and how do you solve them?
Well, it's bigger than solving problems. It's helping the control system, the nervous system of the body, go to an adaptive, balanced state. So if our brain and nervous system, our brain, our brainstem, and our spinal cord can adapt and respond to everything around us in a normal state, we're in the best possible position to survive and thrive. So
Right.
chiropractic's not about back pain or neck pain. It's about, am I able to survive this next little threat? How well can I adapt and absorb that stress and still function in a hyper normal way? Not too normal, not beyond normal, or not under normal, but perfectly normal. Um, but people come to us with all kinds of problems and symptoms, and those tend to be more alarms than they are the actual cause of what they're complaining about. So back pain, neck pain, pain is just an alarm. Congratulations, that alarm part of the system works. Now we got to find the cause, and it's usually something associated with um, the ability of the spine to move properly or sit properly. And if it doesn't do either one of those, it puts tension and torsion and torque on the brain, brainstem, and spinal cord, which causes unease, disharmony, imbalance. And the body can't deal with that for very long without things starting to break down. So that's
For
what
sure.
chiropractic essentially is. But it's easier to say, yes, I can help you with your back pain. Yes, I can help you with your headaches. Yes, I can help you with, yes, I can help you with. It's easier to say that, but realistically, we go much deeper to a much more um, fundamental existence level than just the pain.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with chiropractors for a
Mhm,
long time. I worked with on different issues, my posture,
mhm.
alignment, neck, back, knee, all sorts of stuff,
Absolutely.
which is interesting. So let's talk about business models for chiropractors.
Mhm.
Let's first talk about the main challenges that chiropractors have with their businesses that are, stemming from their models.
When it goes directly back to that last question is, what do I do? If I treat and take care of symptoms and conditions, that's what's called the medical model. It's symptom care. It's once that is solved, that you're no longer my client. Once that's taken care of, we no longer have a business relationship unless it flares up again. Um, that is a very westernized medical model, and that's fine. It's just that's what it is. So
Hmm.
if you're practicing that way, that business model has to be the medical model, which is pay per visit. And sometimes you can get away with pay per condition. Like, I've got back pain. We'll give you 6 months. This is what it's going to cost. Pay up front, and we'll take care of you till it's done. So that's plan or pay per visit, like the insurance model is. That's the medical model. The chiropractic model, again, is ongoing life care, and so it's more regular and in its foundation. So you're going to do it. You're going to receive chiropractic care like you would take vitamins or like you go to the gym. It's more on a regular workout, and so you can either play the medical business model, pay per visit, or 6 months at a time, or you can do monthly, or you can do concierge where it's a membership type thing, kind of business model. And then the third time is completely faith-based. I'm here to take care of you. God's taking care of me, and so God's going to pay me. And there's actually a box on the wall. And when you come in, you contribute, or you don't. You contribute as much as you want or as little as you can. And God will take care of me through that. My only concern is taking care of you on a regular basis so that you can live the best possible life and my community is in the best possible position that we have a great life together. So once those are balanced, once you figure out how you practice, that helps you determine what business model you have. And if you start crossing lines, things get really screwy with taxes and with the government and with insurance companies, and all kinds of funky things start happening if you practice in a different business model than your philosophy is.
For sure. So you talked about the Western kind of way of looking at chiropractic and the symptoms, treating symptoms, whatnot. What is how do you go about it? Do you go like in deeper, like for example, sometimes I talk to doctors and I'm like, this issue is most likely coming from stress. And they're like, no, it's not. It's a mechanical thing. Right? Is that the type of thing you're talking about, like the deep inner thoughts that connects to our health, or is that a different approach that you have?
Thoughts, traumas, and toxins are a part of what drive us to disharmony, imbalance, dis-ease in our systems. You can look at a purely mechanical view of chiropractic, that it's just the misalignment, putting pressure on nerves, causing interference in the transmission of the messages, and make it a purely mechanistic thing, which is Western thought. It's mechanistic. There's nothing beyond the parts and pieces in a bag, right? We tend to be more vitalistic. Is there something more there? There's life there. There's an essence there that's coordinating all these parts and pieces. It's not purely mechanical. There's a nuance there. The French say the je ne sais quoi, that little something that I can't describe. There's something else there, and that's what we work with. I'm not working with parts. I'm working with the whole, because I know when you stub your toe, that can cause headaches. I know that when you break your leg, your shoulders are sore. I know that you can't affect one part of the body without affecting all parts of the body.
The rest of it.
Yeah. So
yeah, because I guess everything is connected in the body. So
absolutely,
more so than we can imagine. So how can chiropractors identify if they have the right business model or not?
Well, when you ask them, how do they take care of their family, their wife, their kids, their dog, their mother, their in-laws? Do they just do their checks and adjust without asking? Do they do it once a week, twice a week, whatever? How do they take care of their family versus how do they take care of the public? And if that's not close to the same, there might be a problem there. If I'm taking care of my wife on a weekly basis, regardless of whether she's complaining about any kind of physical issue, just to make sure she's clear of these interferences that we call in chiropractic the chiropractic vertebral subluxation. If I'm just checking her for that, if it's there and helping the body correct it without her complaining about anything, I'm operating in a chiropractic model. We call it paradigm 3. If I'm waiting for her to complain of something and then going through a protocol of addressing that complaint, then I'm operating what's called paradigm 2, which is symptom and condition based. So I take care of her differently than I do George off the street. There might be a disconnect there. It might be an incongruency in how I think about chiropractic. And I'm doing it as a business over here, using it mechanistically, where over here I'm using it holistically and vitalistically. And that can cause some internal issues with the chiropractor.
Got it. And then, so do you help chiropractic offices as well with their business models? Is that something
part of my passion? Is I teach from the stage to make sure you understand where you fit on the spectrum of paradigms, how you think about chiropractic and its place in your world. Choose it, and then stick with it. and make sure that runs everything you do with chiropractic. But don't tell me you're going to do it this way, and then for your wife and your kids and your in-laws and your brother and sister that just showed up from vacation, it's like, hey, let's get you on the table and check you so you're nice when you're dealing with me. That might be an indication there's something just a little bit off in how you think about what you do.
Okay. Speaking of that, what are some of the symptoms that they would see or experience when they don't have the right business model or if they have the
Well,
wrong
a
model?
high level of stress and doubt. So stress about the finances, because if you're practicing in a giving way, but uh, when I say practice, that's the actual doing of it. But your business model is in receiving. So I'm constantly giving, and that's what I want to do. But I know I got to receive. I'm constantly stressed about the receiving. So that's a disconnect. If I'm serving with the expectation of receiving and understanding there's a 30, 60, 90 never kind of business model, I'm either going to get a 30, 60, 90 or never from the insurance companies. I'm playing their game. And that's what I expect. It's easier to deal with and the stress is low because they're playing the same game. But if you're doing it this way and doing your business completely different, that stress of that incongruency can cause some internal issues with the chiropractor. For one of the first titles I gave you was it's a life or death issue, because I experienced that. I was practicing in a insurance model, but I knew it was different, and it drove me to suicide. Yeah, it can get that bad
Wow.
when it's this much a part of you and it's part of your passion. So that title actually had some very personal implications. Is I was very suicidal for a while because I was giving, giving, giving. I didn't know how to receive, and I thought I was doing the right way, but the insurance people were playing their game, and I was trying to play my game, and that's when soccer and baseball don't mix. We're playing two different games.
Right. Um, I'm guessing that's a big problem in that thing that you said about the giving, 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 and not receiving enough. I've noticed that chiropractic profession is pretty hard on the body of the
Can be, yes.
chiropractors. Mainly, they have wrist problems and elbow and all that, and I feel like some of them they get, yep, and some of them get burnt out and frustrated with giving, giving, and then people coming in, grinding and maybe tell us more about
Right.
that.
Um,
And
and Keith, you're exactly right. If there are receivables, you're not running your business properly, and that's why I love the cash practices. At the end of the day, the balance is zero. It's a LinkedIn note there from Keith Washington. Um, yes, if your art, the way you choose to deliver the chiropractic adjustment is rough and tough, and you don't do it exactly right, you can destroy yourself. I graduated in '92,
mhm,
so I'm at 23 years now in practice. Not had back surgery, not had shoulder surgery, not had elbow surgery. I've got a little bit of golfer's tennis elbow from lifting, not from chiropractic.
yeah,
This is from
mhm,
an exercise from gym work. Um, if you don't do technique right, you're going to destroy your body. And I know people that I graduated with or
mhm,
graduated after me that had two or three shoulder surgeries, have hip replacement, knee replacements, um, a lot of spinal issues because don't you have your posture right when you're delivering the
mhm,
adjustment. So yeah, it's a critical thing. And
yeah,
I know, oh, he's going to kill me because I can't remember his name right now. Dr. Brett has a program on, the whole program is how to exercise to survive being a chiropractor.
yeah. And I'm guessing, back to what you were saying earlier, that if someone has high stress when they're practicing, their joints or body is going to wear out a lot quicker compared to someone that's having fun, good, positive vibes.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
No, you're exactly on point, because when you have stress that you can't handle, it affects how you eat, what you eat, because you're making bad decisions there. You're making bad business decisions,
Hmm.
because you're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul because Mary didn't show up, and then you're waiting for Blue Cross Blue Shield to step in, hopefully miraculously pay early. And so all this stress builds up, and so your family life sucks, but you don't have a social life because you're always at the office filling out paperwork and trying to get that extra buck. You don't have business relationships. You don't worship well. So, every aspect of you breaks down.
Yeah.
And so you're
Yeah.
left with this hole that, like I said, can sometimes lead to suicide. Unfortunately, I've lost a half dozen people in the last 20 years to that.
I can imagine. And I'm guessing if you are high stress and you're putting pressure on your wrist and elbow and shoulders all day long, that stress is going to wear those joints and the bones
If
quick.
Right, if your technique isn't proper,
Yeah.
right, and if you're overloading your capacity. And so understanding your business model is also understanding the capacity of that business model. So is it 50 a day? Is it 20 a day? Is it 300 a day? What can I do physically? What can I do financially so my body can survive it?
Got it. So then how do you, let's say that we have a chiropractor that is high stress.
Mm-hmm.
He or she is, is in trouble, finances, stress, physical health, and the rest of it. How do you go about fixing it? Give us an example of a client that you worked with, like a case study, without maybe
Sure.
mentioning names and keeping their privacy off.
Right.
What were experiencing? How did you find them and fix their problem?
Well, you've already described it. They're serving a lot of people and they're not making a lot of money, and they're high stress and family's starting to fall apart. If you don't have a strong family, you don't have a strong foundation. So you got to just step away from the practice. It's already destroying you. So if you take a week off, it's not going to destroy you anymore. Take a week off, take a breath, get some rest, get some sleep, deal with your family, get that sorted out, find a good counselor to work on that. And then when you come back, take a look at your fees. Are you playing the money game? Are you trying to be the lowest cost in the area and try to win business by being cheap? Or are you in the middle and get lost with everybody else who's charging the same exact fee? Are you playing the same advertising game as everybody else? Is back pain, shoulder pain, headache, neck pain? Or what sets you apart? Again, what's your unusual selling point? What's your unique selling position? Right.
Yeah.
And then do you want to be on the lower end of the financial thing? Maybe you need to move and lower your overhead. Right now, my complete overhead in a month total to stay in business and stay thriving, I need $1,600 a month. That's it.
That's it.
It's a 1,100 square foot office.
You own your
1,100
building.
square foot office, utilities, water, internet, everything, insurance, everything. $1,600 a month. So I have very little stress to run this office. If I had a overhead of $30,000 a month, gosh, I don't even know what I would do. I mean,
You'll be out quick.
So lower the overhead. What do we need to do to streamline that? Now, one of the things we ought to do right away is, do we double your fee? If you're charging 50, or do we charge 100? If you're charging 75, do we go to 150? And we'll lose patients. Yeah, but you're not going to lose 50% of your people. If you lost 40% of your people, but you doubled your revenue, now you have capacity, physical capacity, to go forward. And you've set yourself apart to be unique, because now you're winning the higher end. And people have this weird thing, as if there's a premium price that equals premium service. And now, since you're not overloaded, your calendar is opened up. Now you can slow down and treat them when they're in your office to, a little bit better seating, a little bit slower pace, more relaxed. It's not, hey, Mary, hurry up, everybody's running behind. We've got 3 minutes.
Go.
And so from a 3-minute encounter, now you get it to a 6 or 7-minute encounter. Doesn't seem like much, but that's a lot of time to spend with somebody when you're doing chiropractic care. And everybody's told every story they can think of, and they're ready to leave, and they feel like they've been given a tremendous asset. So, thinking about things like that, thinking about staff, Is your stress coming from staff that feel like their capacity is
Hmm.
might be the greatest person in the world, but their capacity is 20 people a day when you need to be at 50 people a day? That's not a bad thing for them. That's just not their capacity. So, a good friend of mine said, be very slow to hire and very quick to fire. If you find those capacity
Yep.
issues, it's not that they're bad people. It's just they don't have the capacity to serve our office where they need to be. What about your other processes
Yep.
and procedures? What are unnecessary goat feathers? Our founder of our profession, the promoter of our profession, BJ Palmer, was a tremendous marketer, and he had this thing about removing goat feathers from all the advertising. And what are goat feathers?
What does that mean?
Unnecessary anything. So if you say, we're going to go to Spartanburg Memorial Theater in downtown Spartanburg, Spartanburg's twice. You don't need one of them, right? So he would throw that out of
Yep.
the radio copy. So what in
Yep.
what in my procedures do I not need to be doing? One of my pet peeves is
100%.
when you sit down in the chiropractor for the first time, how many pieces of paper are put on a clipboard in front of you? 5, 6.
I was I was watching a video the other day about how Elon Musk fixes
Mhm,
problems,
mhm.
politics
Yeah,
aside, and whether we like him or not. One good thing that I learned from his conversation is he said, "When a problem comes up, I try to delete it
mhm,
altogether first, right, and
mhm,
see what happens. See if we need this thing or not. Like, for example, if I have a problem with, say, Facebook advertising, and it's not working, it's not bringing me patients. First thing it would do is try to delete it and stop it and see what happens. For example, and then see if it pops up. And so, talking about eliminating things that you were saying that we don't need is a huge,
yeah, yeah. Because
huge
you
thing.
fill in all these papers, then you sit with the nurse. They ask you the questions that were on the paper. It's like I already wrote that down. Why'd I have to need to tell you this? Then you sit with the doctor. You've written them down. You told the nurse, and now it's like I've already told you this twice. What am I telling
For
you
the
this the third
third
time?
time.
And so
Yep,
getting rid of those things intentionally. Yeah.
they're repeating stuff. Yep, 100%. Love it. Um, Give us some of the milestones that you've achieved along the way since over the years.
Gosh, just surviving this long, it's unusual in my profession, unfortunately. As you noted, most people burn out in about 10, 15, 20 years. And they go on to education or business coaching or lifestyle coaching or to other um, para-chiropractic professions like owning gyms or doing other things. So just surviving this long is extremely fulfilling, knowing that I'm going to do this until I die. So it's actually part of my retirement plan. It's not that I stop doing
Very
this
nice.
and hopefully I have enough money. Is this is going to continue to provide for me and my family till I die. Um, so that's fulfilling. The other big thing is just going along doing what I know is right, being in congruency. I went from just a regular chiropractor doing my regular things to being dean of clinics at the prestigious Sherman College of Chiropractic. You just usually don't go from off the streets to a dean position. That's usually a work for 10,
Hmm.
20 years to get up there. And they called me in to do that. And that was a huge, high, overwhelming honor. And we did great work and we got things really humming out there for the influx of students that they got. And we got the campus rebuilt. We found some money from Trey Gowdy, one of the senators or Congress persons from down here in South Carolina. He found us some federal money to actually rebuild the entire campus. And so now we have a brand spanking new campus and all that stuff. And that was a huge pin on my chest, if you will. And then not last year, year before, I was awarded Chiropractor of the Year by the state association, and that was a huge honor. Just by doing what I do for the state association and all the chiropractors in our state and nationwide, they honored me with that distinction. So that was very, very cool. Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
Wow, love it. And so when you were the dean of clinic operations, were you teaching the business aspect of business, chiropractic business to these
I
students, or
was
was it
more of a
something different?
consultant, but they had a group come in, some very good coaches that were partnering with the school to provide the business courses, and so I just kind of partnered
Oh
with
yeah.
them, and we took their protocols and stuff and tried to implement it into the flow of care in the outpatient clinic in the community care center, chiropractic center. So we implemented their policies and procedures, and we're good friends. The founders and administrators of that, we've been good friends for a while, so they felt comfortable having me do that, and I felt really comfortable with their curriculum. So we just implemented that, helped implement that campus wide. As I was just a cog in the wheel in that. I had no leadership, and it was just I was there doing it because it's part of operations. When a new client comes in, what do we do? Well, we've got this protocol, and this is how we're going to roll it out. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so you had some great achievements, some milestones. What were some of the challenges that you faced while reaching those
Again, coming to
milestones?
grips with there are different ways to practice that can cause a lot of internal conflict with how I want to practice. And if you don't get that solved, it can lead to really dark places. Um,
Hmm.
Understanding that we chose to not be medical doctors. So why do I expect the respect, compensation, status of a medical doctor when I chose not to be one? I should expect the respect, position, and honor of a chiropractor because that's what I chose to do. And so coming to grips
Hmm.
with that is different, and each community is different, and how they treat chiropractors and in the slew of providers. Coming to grip that I don't know everything, and I need to continue to be a student, but I
Hmm.
also need to be a conduit. I need to let this information flow through me to the next generation so that I don't become stagnant. So I become a conduit that's freely flowing with information and blessings and prosperity and providence. And you go down the list of whatever comes into me, I get to enjoy until I pass it on to the next person.
Love it. Beauty. And I think earlier you mentioned that at some point, I think you got suicidal along the way with dealing with all the stuff that you were
Did
dealing with, which I think is a common thing. In entrepreneurs, it's a common, very common, but in the medical profession, it's very common dealing with all the trauma that all these people are dealing with. I think the stress is.
Yeah, it becomes when I steal consequences away from people and I steal responsibility away from somebody else. I have that double layer of I've taken the responsibility for their life. I've stolen the consequences of choices they've made, and now I put that on me. And so the results of what they do with their life, I've stolen the responsibility for that. I have no control over it.
Mhm.
And you feel that weight of, okay, I can't do this. I'm
Comes
just a
in.
provider of this service. They have to keep the responsibility of their choices, and they have to own where they're at. I can only be a helper. I can only be a coach. I can only be an advisor that's providing some sort of outside interference in their trajectory to hopefully get them back on track. And so what we do is, as providers, especially if you get into the white coat God syndrome, where I can do anything because I'm a doctor, whatever the doctor that's in, you start absorbing that level of um, responsibility. At some point, it's going to crack you.
That's right. And so I guess the task there is to let let go of holding or absorbing the
Don't
responsibility.
steal. If it ain't
Don't
yours,
steal.
don't steal it. How about
Love
that?
it. And I think that happens with a lot of professions too. That's not just
Yep.
chiropractors or doctors. I mean, customer comes in with a problem. Now I have all of a sudden and I think people do it trying to be nice and trying to serve the customer, and out of place of serving, they try to get all the blame and all the trauma and all the negative stuff that comes with people. And next thing you know,
Yep.
I get sick.
Yep. Well, because we were given the set of rules: don't steal, don't lie, don't you know, all of these rules, because that's how our existence, our essence, has to be in harmony, in balance, in tune with the universe. And when we get out of
That's
tune,
right.
eventually we get fired from the orchestra.
Love it. So, Dwayne, what would you say is holding you and your business back right
Me,
now?
it's always been me. I was born big. I'm still big. I'm huge. Um, I'm not the poster boy for health and fitness, even though I'm healthy. Um, so just me. I do overextend myself sometimes serving others, but frankly, I'm extremely happy with where I'm at. I'd like to. I would like to be double what I did last year, and it won't take much effort to do that here in the practice.
Sales?
Yeah, double the people I serve,
Okay.
double the number, and that'll lead to that leads to revenue. So that's the other thing: is am I focused on the dollar, or am I focused on the people served? So I'm focused completely on this, letting
I love it.
this be whatever it is.
Yes.
And so I want to double the number of people I serve, which is going
Mhm.
to increase my revenue. And I've got other businesses and other things to run as well. Um, so that steady increase, 10% a year is my goal every year for those other businesses. We just switched from production to sales mode in our software, because now we have 99% of what my dream was for the software done. Now it actually does what I want it to do. Now we can shift into sales. And so looking forward to getting that done this year. We could actually quintuple that business this year if we do it right.
Tell us quickly about your software and what it does.
Sure. Well, it's a electronic chiropractic records. So we took my paper records that are very quick to do, made them electronic, and it's all cloud based. So it's a software as a service, um, and the notes end up taking less time than the encounter does. Most practitioners actually have to have a whole day off per week just to finish their notes. My notes, if you use my system, your notes are done before they leave the room.
Love it.
So
And it always
attached,
stays there, and it's backed up and secure,
it's all cloud.
HIPAA
So
compliant, and the rest of it.
HIPAA compliant, PCI compliant, and now we've hooked in with high level, go high level marketing system.
Mhm.
So as soon as somebody's entered into our system, it goes over to your high level drip campaigns. So it triggers new patient drip campaigns. So now they get their weekly letters for 12 weeks before they get dumped into the regular cycle. And so that's automatic. Any correspondence is automatically recorded. So it just helps in the marketing and management of that. It manages the collection, manages memberships. But the whole point is, when you lock the door at night, when you close your office, nobody owes you anything, and you don't owe anybody anything. And
Fantastic.
that's
And,
that's
what is the name of your software again?
pureCHROnotes.
pureCHROnotes. And where can people learn more about it or get access to it? Or
pureCHROnotes.com.
pureCHROnotes.com. I'm just going to search on Google right now. Yeah, and it pops right up. pureCHROnotes. Gang, if you're watching or listening, you run a chiropractic office, just search pureCHROnotes, and the very first result. Do you guys offer a kind of trial,
Yep.
or how does
2 week
that work?
trial. I like investing in new practices, opening up students. So I've even I'm happy to do 3 to 6 months of uh, uh, free when you first open a practice, just to invest in that,
Oh,
get
yeah.
people going on the right track. So I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do all
Beauty.
the training and coaching that we need to do with that. We need more chiropractors.
Love it. Love it. Do you read? I'm guessing you're a reader.
Yeah, I like reading a little bit.
Give me two of your favorite books of all time.
Oh well, the Bible obviously is one of them.
Okay.
I don't, maybe not obviously to you, but anybody knows me and knows the Bible is one of them.
Yeah.
Anything by uh, Tripp is really good.
Trip.
Yeah, he's a biblical counselor, but he's also a leadership guy. So he wrote this book right here. It's called Lead, and it's all about leadership pitfalls and how to overcome them. So anything by Paul Tripp. A lot of stuff is that I read now is philosophy. Um, anything by Seth Godin. I think my favorite one is called The Dip.
Yeah, I like that book too. It's a tiny little book.
Tiny little book, but I tell you what, man, the way he writes, it's probably more full of information than any textbook you're going to read a business.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Like back to your example of keeping it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there are books that I read that I feel like I go through the entire book and I'm like, this guy could have written this book in like 20 pages.
Right.
And
You know, they say there's a book in every one of us, right? That we need to write
mm-hmm.
before we die. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I could fill up a book. And I read these things and like, I could have done that last night in my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so back
Are
to
you an author?
I've written some philosophy papers. I've got some books started, but nothing that's finished yet.
Oh, okay.
So
got it.
Yeah, no. But back to Seth, I mean, out of the dip, my favorite quote that I love almost every speech I've ever given is, we've heard the saying, winners never quit. But winners are the best quitters. They just know what to quit. They quit the things that hold them back, and they quit early.
You got to know when to quit, I guess.
And what to quit, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the big things out of the dip that I learned, which is why my overhead's $1,600 a month that I don't have staff. I don't need it. So
does that, back to your point about that, does that mean you own your office?
The building? No. I rent the building. It's in a strip mall, 50 steps from my house.
Oh, so with rent and everything else included, $1,600.
Rent, utilities, that's electric, water, internet, liability insurance, malpractice insurance,
everything,
toilet paper, paper towels. It's $1,600 a month.
So I'm guessing, and help me figure this out. Like, tell me if I'm off base, but the first about 15 or 16 patients that you treat every month covers your bases, and the rest hopefully turns into profit.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep, absolutely.
Love it. Dwayne, what's one piece of advice that made a big impact on your life or business?
Well, from Tim Langley, a good friend of mine, one of my mentors, he basically says, slow down, get in harmony, and then go forward.
And then go
forward.
What does he mean by that?
Sometimes we push the accelerator too much, and we get out of sync with how everything works in our family, in our business, in our life. And so sometimes we just got to let off the gas until everything gets back in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And we start pushing forward again.
So I absolutely love that. And I'm guessing the question then is, how do you get in harmony? Because this is to me, one of those things that is easier said than done.
Absolutely. But when you slow down, you open up capacity to notice. When you slow down, you open up capacity and awareness of where things are at. When you slow down, you find out what pieces have fallen off. And it opens up time as well so that you can spend time listening to your significant partners in all your areas to make sure that you're in harmony with them. I'm a biblical counselor as well. And one of the things I always start with is bitterness, anger, strife, arguments always come from unmet expectations. And every unmet expectations has never been verbalized. So when we slow down, we're able to communicate and verbalize expectations, get rid of the ones that shouldn't be there. Everybody now is on the same page, firing on the same cylinders with the same goal. So now we're all moving in the right direction at the same pace with verbalized expectations that can be met.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Dwayne, this was a great conversation. Thank you for showing up, sharing your expertise, sharing your story. Tell us about where can, before I ask that question, is there any question that I should have asked that would add value to our listeners and people that are watching?
No, it's interesting. We started this relationship of talking about Titronics, and we didn't even mention them.
Tell me about it.
Titronics is an assessment tool that we build, and the patent for it is 100 years old this year. The patent is right here. It's 1924, 1925, and it's a tool chiropractors use to verify the existence of that thing we talked about, the chiropractic vertebral subluxation. Completely objective, completely non-invasive, and why every chiropractor doesn't use it, I still don't know.
Love it. Titronics, is there a website for that as well?
Titronics.com.
Next.com. Beauty. Where can people find out more about you and reach out and get in touch?
Everything. I'm an early adopter to technology, so when tags started coming out, anything that has Doc Hoskins on it, you have a pretty good chance it's me. In every channel.
Okay.
Every channel. So it's at Doc Hoskins or Doc Hoskins this, Doc Hoskins that, Doc Hoskins at Gmail, Doc Hoskins at AOL, Doc Hoskins at Live, Alec, whatever we could tag when they first came out, we went ahead and tagged them.
Beauty. Gang, if you're watching or listening, just search Dwayne Hoskins and his websites. I've done this. His websites come up. You can reach out to him on Facebook and LinkedIn, at least, I'm guessing.
Yep.
LinkedIn for sure. And the websites are out there. Go check out the CHROnotes software for your electronic files, and Titronics for the assessment. And reach out. Dwayne also has the Chiro Hustle podcast. Search it up, listen to his podcast. And if you have any questions for me and for Dwayne, just post it in a comment and wherever you're watching, and we'll do our best to get back to you and answer it. Dwayne, thank you very much. Gang, you've been watching and listening to the Executive Hub Show. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, your host, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Bye now.